is we are talking about the visibility. Because I think it's that the most important if you can exchange all of the data between all of the tiers in the supply chain area. And if we are talking about the glass industry, especially of SCHOTT Igar glass, now one of the business segment in SCHOTT Igar glass is to produce the vials, ampoules for the drugs of the containers, which is in the COVID area, as you might know, it is until now is still happening quite a big jump of demand. And to be able to optimize, we need to see all of the supply chain processes, starting from beginning until the end. It depends on the complexity. If we are talking of the glass industry, we start from the demand management. In the demand management, there are a lot of things inside that we need to take a look. For example, we need to understand what is our demand, how we will do this. And now with the digitalization process, there are some automation process that we can use to optimize this. There is predictable system that we can use to check the historical of data. Then based on that, they can do also the cleansing of data history, then they can predict the future demand. It's helped us, of course, but this is not the, I would say, 100% perfect, but at least that we have as baseline that we need to understand for the future demand. That's from the part of demand. And also in the operation, in the manufacturing operation, we have a lot of things. We start with production, warehousing, and other processes. We need also to take a look on these processes. What is the important? First, in the production process, we need to be able to becoming a digital. Means that all of data from the machine until ERP system, until becoming a finished product, it should be visible. Everybody can see from the lower level at the top level of management. That can help also in terms of optimization, in terms of the OEE, in terms of productivity, in terms of cost, and so on. And next step also very important, after the operation, the warehousing also very important. Because warehousing is also part of the logistic. The warehousing, we need to be able to utilize, now I think most of the warehouse that we are using is already using robot to be able to store, to pick, and to put away. All of these three things is the using the robot. You can optimize, you can increase your productivity, reduce the cost, speed to time. This is also one way to optimize. And for the next step, what we need also to do let's say optimize with our water and transporter. One of the now solution is there some digitalization through the system that we can do for let's say for checking the container availability, shipment schedule, routing, and other way. So all of these processes, if we can do in the optimized with digitalization, with the visualization, exchange data through the system, then this is can really help the company to help to improve all of the things. That's my thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Irawan. It's a wonderful explanation. So my next question goes to Susila. As you all know that Indonesia is a diversified land, and also mining industry is also located in the remote regions. Right? So how do you mitigate the issues of to overcome a safety stock and also demand planning?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So in terms of the geographical and the remote logistic operation, yeah, it's correct that usually mining companies operated in a remote area, and because of that, we tend to stock almost all of the materials that are needed. For example, in our company, we stock the toilet paper to the big tire. So it's about 14,000 line items, and it's very huge. We have 14 warehouses spread across the mining site, and that's creating another challenge. And to overcome the situation, we surely cannot get out from the digital solution. So we use the ERP system. Right now we use SAP for the resource planning, including the demand planning, and also we have the third-party software to calculate automatically the demand versus the inventory. So it will give us the recommendation on how much the minimum order quantity or the order point that needs to be done. So the purchasing officer will only have at most 5 purchasing officer to manage those of the POs. So the software and the ERP help us much for that. And for the stock term, the big challenges is for the bulk materials, for the raw materials like diesel fuel, coal, tire, and explosive. We also implement the monitoring system, like for example for the fuel, we implement the fuel management system to see the stock as well as the consumption in a daily basis or even in a real-time basis using the SCADA system. And for coal as well, it's quite the same system that we use. But actually another challenge to implement the digital solution in the mining site is the infrastructure. For example, during the implementation of the fuel management system, we need to install a lot of infrastructure to be able to put all of the instruments. For example, there's a lot of fuel tanks that cannot get the network or the Wi-Fi. So we need to pull the cable, the LAN cable or the fiber optic cable just to reach and to have that tank or the facility connected to our network. Because in the mining site usually we don't have the BTS for the GSM or maybe like Wi-Fi signal. So I think that's the answer.
Okay, thank you, Pak. My next question to Dr. Irawan. How do you collaborate with customers and suppliers to make more efficient supply chain to increase revenue?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. San. Yeah, basically also this is one of the big challenges I think in the glass industry, how we will able to do the collaboration, both in the supplier and also customer. This is actually the whole supply chain consists of these three, right? Customer, supplier, and us in the between. So means that I think what we do or what we are doing until now is first, yeah, we need to convince them the data information is need to be open. Sometimes when it's not open from both sides, it's not transparency happen. It's hard to be able to do the collaboration. And we need to answer, we need to give them the understanding, what is the behind, why we need to open this information. For example, during the COVID, when COVID happened, outbreaks, what's the most important? Vaccine. That the most important around the world, the vaccine. And SCHOTT, we produce the vial for the drugs, for the vaccine. And everybody in the pharmaceutical company looking for that. But previously, in last 6 months before COVID outbreak, there's no information. Just suddenly came, right? And this is, of course, that we need to be agile in this kind of situation. That's why the information that they need to pass through to us. What is their demand for the future? Even though it's not 100% accurate, at least they do something so we can understand. Then based on that, we can check, we can review which one that we can possible to do. And fortunately, SCHOTT is one of the global companies, so we can use all the network in every continent around the world that we produce the file, not only Indonesia, also China, India, and the European continent. So we can bring all that to support this vaccine for the COVID-19. That's one of the hard. So means first, need to be aware collaboration is very important, open transparency, and the third, we need to do using the system. We need to have the automation. We cannot do the manual use of, sharing through the information by the people because it will be something forgot, and also it cannot be stored and cannot be tracked. That's why the most important also we need to implement some integration system between us and the customer and us and the supplier. The one I think a lot of system now I think are ready to use. I think both in cloud or not in cloud. But what I recommended is we need to understand at what level we need to be shared. Not all of the information, but only the specific, the demand and supply management. And it can, if this can be what we had or what we have until now is very good. It's that when there is some big demand up, so we can detect earlier, then we can do something. Then we can provide the feedback to the customer. Or if we need something to our supplier more than the regular demand, also they know, and they can detect directly, then they also can feedback to us. So means in between of this, if there will be collaboration, for sure that the supply chain solution will come, and at the end, finally we can also manage the supply and demand in optimized way. And at the end, the revenue will up. Thank you.
So my next question goes to Susila. How are you optimizing your logistic in a smarter way to solve the supply chain demands? Yes.
Yeah, it's quite the same. We need to manage and to know the demands and quickly tell our supplier to prepare, because a lot of materials need lead times to be produced. So we implement a system. It's called a supplier portal. It's actually record all of the consumption trends as well as the actual in a daily basis for the consumption of the certain critical materials. So the supplier can also look into that without having the purchasing or the inventory control tell them. So the supplier can see immediately and can prepare for the manufacturing or the production to fulfill the potential demand. Either it is slowing down or maybe like spiking up. So they have the time to prepare rather than waiting, the report in monthly basis, something like that. And we also try to streamlining the process of the purchasing. For example, for quote unquote the non-critical materials like the office supply and food or snack or the consumables. We're trying to implement the punch out system. So it's like the end user, we give end user or the customer the platform to buy, like you buy something in e-commerce in Tokopedia or Shopee or something like that. So this is very effective for us to streamlining the process, because a lot of time spent for our purchasing officer to service or to work on the non-critical requests, and it's a very hassle process that needs to be done. So that's one of the examples that we're trying to implement. Other things, the blanket orders. So for the consumable that this is actually not a new thing, but we try to expand the scope of the blanket orders, so we don't need to do the purchase order every weekly basis or monthly basis, but we put the order for 1 year, and the supplier can supply based on the requirement. And the beauty of the blanket order is that we can also lock the price for certain period. I think, also we as Pak Irawan, Pak Irawan said that this is become a very hot issue for the logistics transparency. Where Pak Irawan said that the example is the file, but in a Freeport example, we had experience to order a lot of Land Cruiser light vehicle, like 200 of them, but the supplier cannot supply the requirement because of the chip shortage. And the chip shortage is because of the blockchain mining. So everybody buy the GPU or the VGA